logging in.
In the herd.
Hmm?
All good in the herd.
Yeah, me and Dean were just talking about Cedric McMillan.
Yeah, it's all over the internet, isn't it?
Yeah, it's everywhere in it at the minute. And obviously, like in the past, 12 months, we've had Sean Roden, Mountain, obviously, and then the year before that, there was loads of others. And Dean sent me some sort of statistics and screenshots of messages from Cedric. And this ties in perfectly with you, actually, Si, because a lot of people are saying that it was due to him having the vaccine, that he was having a respiratory issue. Now, this is where you like the perfect timing for joining us on the podcast is you've had COVID, you were hospitalized for that, was it 3 weeks or something?
Yeah, total 5 weeks, yeah.
You are pretty much a pro bodybuilder. You know, you run your own gym. I think we can safely say PEDs have been used.
British champion. Don't forget that.
Yeah, okay, British champion as well. Sorry, Si. Sorry, mate. Just put his CV up on the screen now. Off the back of that, Si, what's your opinion?
Well, they said he had. I've not had the vaccine, to be honest. So I can't comment on that. I've not personal choices. I decided not to take it, and I just had heard too many sort of. I've had a lot of family members, close family members, who have had bad experiences taking the vaccine, and obviously me sort of getting a blood clot in hospital. I just thought, you know what, I'd rather do without it and just take my chances.
So, just out of curiosity, because you've had it, and obviously there's this whole herd immunity thing, did that limit your chances of catching it again because you had it and had it so bad, or are you more susceptible to get it because you caught it?
I guess I think for a while you sort of do have a sort of immunity to it. I mean, you sort of are able to fight it off. I did catch COVID again back in Christmas just gone. I tested positive, and the whole gym went down with it. But I was bad for about 3 days. I mean, nowhere near as bad as the first time. But I was like,
did you panic?
Nah, I sort of, compared to the first time, it was like a walk in the park. It was just,
okay.
But you know, I was quite bad, and that was the first time I've been ill since the last time. And I was in bed for 3 days, and the whole gym had it. To be honest, it was going around everywhere.
So, Sam, I'm just going to play a devil's advocate here.
Yeah.
You, of all people, like being on a ventilator, 50-50 whether he was going to pull through, almost dying of COVID. Most people would have jumped at the chance of getting the vax after going through that experience. Why did you choose not to?
You know, the whole COVID thing. I don't know whether, but I just think it's something very fishy, and I just don't like the way they sort of forced everyone to sort of take it initially. Yeah. And then you had to do another vaccine. Now you've got to do a third booster. Now there's another booster. Where does it end? Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
I just thought the whole thing was very suspicious. Even me going to hospital, I thought at the time I knew I had something, but I just thought the whole thing was sort of rushed, and they panicked putting me into a coma straight away, because I think everyone just panicked at the time, and I thought I was one of the first people, one of the first sort of victims.
Do you think that was like lack of knowledge of the virus, obviously within the... Yeah.
It was, and even they told me afterwards, we sort of panicked, we didn't know what we were doing, and, you know, I was... Yeah, so...
From what I know, it was similar kind of effects from what's it called? Fluid on the lungs. Pneumonia, sorry.
Yeah.
And the normal protocols to that is you just put them onto oxygen. Within a couple of days, they're normally fine.
You were intubated, weren't you, though, Si?
They seem to have this protocol of all COVID patients to smack them straight onto the ventilators. If you went back now, Simon, and if you had the choice, would you have opted for the ventilator?
No, I wouldn't. 100% not. No way. No way. I would have tried. I would have bought it, because I know I would have looking back, I would have fought it. And yeah. Because once I had the breathing, once they give me the mask, because I had about 6 hours when I had a 6-hour gap between me arriving in hospital and then putting me on the ventilator. So I was all right. I mean, I was breathing through the mask, but I think I would have recovered eventually. But being on the ventilator, it's fucked me up mentally, honestly.
So obviously you were in there for 3 weeks. How long, like, would you say? Because obviously a big thing for you was you couldn't really walk when you left. How long would you say you're getting back to pre-catching COVID to getting, back to your conditioning again? How long was that?
I would say, well, I got out sort of early May, so I went in sort of mid-March, and for the first probably month, it was sort of initially trying to put some weight back on, trying to get some movement back in my legs, because my legs were so sort of, it felt like I couldn't even bend my legs. My legs were so stiff. You know, when you sort of decondition and your body just seizes up, and I was so weak. Initially, I had to put the weight back because I was just eating anything I could. So by sort of, obviously the gyms were still shut. So July, I sort of went back to the gym and sort of started like training over lockdown, just lightly. And me sort of by September, I was back up to 17 stone and squatting 500 pounds. So probably 3 months.
I can remember the news article. Sorry, go on, Dean.
I think this whole transformation, like when he first came out of the coma, we was all obviously so relieved. But nobody could get hold of Simon or anything because he couldn't physically even text on his phone. He couldn't hold his phone to text.
Really?
Somebody. Well, he couldn't eat. He obviously couldn't walk. Talk us through that experience. So, what was it like when you first woke up?
When I first woke up, I remember I remember quite vividly. Like the nurse was slapping my face and Simon, wake up, because obviously they'd weaned me off the sedation. So I was slowly coming around, and I was having these weird, crazy dreams. And eventually, the nurse did wake me up, and she said, "Look, you've been really, really sick, and you're lucky to be alive." And it took me a while to sort of come around and just sort of get my head around where I was and what happened. And I was still quite heavily sedated at the time, so I was still coming off all the drugs. And I remember eventually I tried to talk to Kirsty, and so I couldn't remember where my phone was or anything like that. So eventually, when I did get my phone, I remember I had to call Kirsty through the iPad because I didn't know where my phone was. So the nurse got me the hospital iPad, and I spoke to her there. Then after a while, I had no control of my fingers. I couldn't even type, I couldn't even text message anyone for about 10 days, 2 weeks. I was just, had no coordination. So even though I had my phone, I was getting messages, I just couldn't reply back to anyone. It was like a vegetable to me. It was horrible.
Your memory and everything was all gone.
And I remember Josh came in, Dr. Josh, and he did like a Zoom call with a few of the lads. And I was just, I couldn't even speak to him. I just like laid there. And I
remember I was on the other end of that with the lads in the gym, and he was like an absolute zombie. You just disappeared. And it was just horrific to see you in that state. You couldn't string a sentence together. Your words were slurring.
I very good memory because, I mean, the nurse said to Josh, "You shouldn't be here." So we just did a Zoom call with friends, and I was just like lying in bed looking. I couldn't even speak. It was like, I still drugged up, I think.
I can remember the news article from the first time you came on. I can still remember it to this day. There was a picture of you. You were sat up in the hospital bed, gown on, the whole shebang. But I'm one of those people that looks around the room. So you know when people post like selfies on Facebook, like girls, and I think, look at the mess behind them. But on this table, all I can remember seeing was a packet of rice cakes and fruit and nuts. And I'm thinking, he's still thinking about them Gainz.
I thought you were going to say a piece of fish and a rice cake.
It might as well have been.
I asked Josh to smuggle me some food, and he got told off for it. I couldn't physically chew it because he said, look, because it was so dry. And because obviously they were feeding me through a tube at the time, and said, look, you're not allowed any food because you're going to choke. So I had all these white cakes and chocolates, and I couldn't even eat it. It was just like, I stuffed it there.
Actually, you couldn't even have them. You couldn't even keep the Gainz. So really.
No, they were feeding me through this, like, I had to drink these, like weight gain drinks through a straw. And they weaned me off because obviously they were feeding me through a tube through my nose initially until I could eat to sort of swallow again. And then they were just feeding me liquid, like yogurts and sort of.
So
like
were you scanning them into like MyFitnessPal or checking the labels, make sure, you know, you're getting your macros? Nah.
So he went from basically he couldn't talk, couldn't text, to he couldn't walk. So when he learned to walk again, obviously the doctor said, "Oh, don't do anything for 6 to 8 weeks." He's in the park the next day squatting on.
I can remember it. Yeah, you were doing a lot of body weight stuff for a few weeks, weren't you?
About a week after. It was about a week after. It was. Couldn't physically walk. I said, look, I just got to do a few. I just got to walk around because if you don't do any exercise, your legs just. And I've already been in hospital for 5-6 weeks, lying in a bed. So I just needed to move my legs because just to get some movement back in my legs. It was just I was seizing up.
Just clear your mind as well, isn't it?
Yeah,
just to get out and
bedbound for that long, mentally and physically, it's horrible. You feel like you're just wasting away.
So obviously, circling back to obviously the CEDRIC situation, there's a lot of speculation going around at the minute. Every time a bodybuilder passes away, comment section's always steroids, steroids, steroids. Then I noticed Sergio Oliva Jr. went on a bit of not a rampage, but sort of put it out there that, you know, he's fed up of seeing these sorts of comments. He'd spoken to CEDRIC at the Legion show backstage, and CEDRIC actually confessed to Sergio that he was struggling to breathe, like he was having like respiratory issues. He was struggling to breathe. He'd had pneumonia, I think it was the year prior to that. And Sergio said, well, why are you doing it? Why are you like competing if this is so physical? And then even, what's his name? I can't even think now. He posted a clip behind the scenes at the Olympia, and Cedric was literally lying on the floor.
Yeah, Rolly Winkler.
Rolly, that was it. Yeah, Rolly. Yeah. And I'm thinking, does this tie in, or is he just tired? Because obviously you guys know competing, you're absolutely fatigued. But off of what Sergio's saying, do you think that, like, well, firstly, I'd quite like to know both your opinions on how, without speculating too much, how you think Cedric passed, given the fact that he's had the jab, he's had pneumonia, and he's an elite level pro bodybuilder. And also, you know, do you guys think steroids have played a part in it at all? And I'm not trying to like cause some YouTube drama or jump on a bandwagon, but I think the conversation still needs to be had.
It's got to be accumulation of everything, isn't it? To be honest, it's not natural to be, was he 280, 270, 280? And,
yeah.
You know, it's just put a lot of obviously stress on his body, competing year in, year out. Because he had to pull out the show, didn't he pull out the Arnold?
He's pulled out of quite a few over the last few years. I actually did a video a couple of months ago saying like a lot of these, you know, because obviously we had, you know, Josh Lenartowicz, he pulled out because he had like a tumor within his skin. And, you know, and as soon as these things happen, everyone's like jumps on, you know, it has to be steroids. But then you see bodybuilders on the flip side of that. Like as soon as we come on, we were talking about Dean's post. Some bodybuilders will defend it to the hilt because they don't want to put it out there that bodybuilding is kind of bad for you. If you're using that amount of much PEDs, you can have as many blood tests as you want. You're not naturally designed to be, you know, that big for that long. What's your thoughts, Dean?
Okay, so where do we start on this? Open up a whole can of worms, isn't it? So we all know bodybuilding on a whole is not healthy. You can look at open bodybuilding, you can look at natural bodybuilding. Let's start with the naturals. Natural bodybuilding, there should be no drugs involved whatsoever. Do you think that's healthy? Far from it. To put that much stress on your body with the extreme diets, the force feeding off season, the extreme diets to get the kind of condition they need to do to win is so harsh on your body, it's far from healthy. And then when you go to open bodybuilding and you're going to chuck in a shitload of drugs on top of that mix, sometimes it's not always the drugs, it's using those drugs and being able to get yourself to 280 pounds. Walking around 280 pound of muscle is a tremendous amount of strain on your heart, your blood pressure is going high. So now your kidneys, your livers, everything is suffering. And if you're doing this long term, it's far from healthy. Some bodybuilders out there, and I like to think it's a lot of the amateurs rather than the pros, abuse the shit out of the gear. So then the side effects are through the roof. And there's a lot of speculation saying these days bodybuilders use 10 times more drugs than what they used to before. And it's true as in the amount of drugs have crept up. We cannot deny that. But on a whole, back in the old eras, there were people abusing drugs, just a lot less of them. These days, a lot more of them probably do, but there's also athletes, amazing athletes, world-class athletes that take a fraction of what people think they do. They're just genetic freaks. The sensible ones are getting constant blood checks and monitoring their health. So we know it's not a healthy sport. So you do all the precautions you possibly can to make sure you do it as healthily as you possibly can. As soon as your blood markers and everything start going off, you need to sort your shit out and get them back right. And that's pretty obvious common sense. The few that get so huge and abusing drugs, there's always been a few of those throughout of all of bodybuilding history where the odd guy here and there dies from probably drug abuse or heart failure or something because they've got that big.
Yeah.
And that's the name of the game. People will always push sometimes too far. All of a sudden, with over the last 2 years, you've seemed to got a fluctuation. There's been like 50 odd bodybuilders died, and at least 30 of those
There's
are
been
top
29 in the last 2 years.
29 top athletes.
Pro level, yeah.
Yeah, so at least 50 well-known bodybuilders, 29 of those very well-known, have died within the last 2 years. That's never ever happened before. Are you going to tell me over the last 2 years people have started taking 10 times the amount of drugs? Not a chance. They've been abusing it 3, 4, 5 years ago, just as much. So what's the only different factors now from the last 2 years to the previous years before that is obviously COVID came around and the vaccinations. The vaccinations have been proven that many people have had severe health issues with it. It's been causing blood clots. Blood clots have been one of the main causes as why blood clot travels to the heart, you get a heart attack.
Yeah.
Travel to the brain. You could die in many ways. All these guys seem to be dropping cardiovascular arrest. And now I'm not saying that any one of these individuals have died because of having a vaccination, but it's a massive coincidence that almost 50 bodybuilders have died over the last 2 years while this vaccine has been running out. And now you can say, okay, well, bodybuilders have got the bad rap because the steroids, the size, all the rest of it. Let's talk about worldwide on sports in general. Let's go, as I say, football. Footballers should be young, healthy, super athletes. There's not a lot of muscle mass on them, and they're generally very fit, healthy people. Hundreds of them have dropped down dead on the pitch over the last 2 years with heart attacks. What's that all about? Can somebody explain that? You can't be like mid-20s, super fit, and just curl over in the middle of a game with a heart attack for no reason. So when you put in all sports, put all these things together, take away the drugs and the size, the massive muscle mass, and put it on a footballer, why are they dropping down dead? All this kind of ties into me, and it's pretty much common sense. And again, I'm not saying any one of these every single person is different. Some of those could have been steroid abuse. Some of those could have been just heart failure because they got so big, too much plaque buildup. It could be many reasons, but I'm pretty sure, my opinion is a lot of these are due to blood clots and stuff from these.
I think those are all really valid points. And obviously, because they're at such an elite level, I mean, you guys know a lot of major league players in the industry. I mean, obviously, Si, you've had most of them, if not all of the top 10 for the last decade in your gym. They will obviously be getting their blood work done, physiotherapy, all those sorts of aspects, on the sidelines. So I want to pose a question to both of you. And I'd appreciate if you could be as honest as possible. At what point are you genuinely going to stop using PEDs? If you are still using them, if you are on a cycle, like not just like, oh, I'm on a cycle, I'm going to stop in 6 weeks, that's when I'm due to come off. Have you genuinely given it a thought to, right, I need to stop at, say, such and such an age, or I'm going to get to this sort of weight so I can do some sort of promo picks? I mean, what have you got a timeline in mind?
Well, I'll go for it. I mean, I did come off, about a year, about 18 months. I was obviously since COVID and stuff.
Yeah.
I was obviously trying to get my own testosterone back, trying to get my fertility back. And I was taking like fertility medication. And after a year, nearly 18 months, just nothing was coming back. And I went to see a consultant and he said, look, things should be back within 3 to 4 months, especially taking all stuff. And he goes, you best just going back on the gear. That's what he said to me. And not a proper cycle. So a few months ago, I just started back on a low dose of testosterone, 300 milligram, which I've dropped down to now 150, 125. So I'll probably stand that as a TR2 dose.
Is it a week? That weekly?
Yeah. 125. Half a mil of testosterone a week.
Is that prescription based, or is that
it's purchased?
Okay. So I'm just going to put it out there because I think it's nice to ask the question, because we need to have a cut-off, don't we?
Yeah, I'll probably stay, to be honest. I mean, I don't see the point of coming off. I mean, and when I did come off, I don't know, I felt terrible. It took me a long time to sort of, I mean, you don't know what it is after being on and off for so long. So you just feel better when you're on. I mean, it's hard to explain, but you just feel sharp, you're more productive, you're just more alert, training's better, just more everything's better. So I thought the quality of life when I was off was far worse. I thought 120, it's nothing really, 125 milligram.
So do you think like that's, without, I don't mean any disrespect, do you think that might be a placebo effect as well as actually physically feeling good? Because we all know when we take it, you're naturally going to push harder because you don't want to waste it.
Yeah, but you know when you can see your body change, and you can see you getting lean, you're putting muscle on, and obviously people comment. So obviously missed the comment, so it does work. As much as
the other day, he measured his arms as 21 inches, and this was like, it's not fucking natural. You're lying. But I know what you're saying, William, that a lot of people, when they come off gear, their training goes to shit, and then their head goes. And normally the case is they just take too much in the first place and have a massive crash when they come off, or they just don't have it in them to want to train. And I've seen Simon when he came out of hospital and got back into training, 2 years natural, he's smashing out 5 plates a side on the squats, like the kind of things that most people could dream of doing on gear. So it's in him to want to train. Obviously, recovery time and all the rest of it is a lot longer when you're not on gear. Having that little bit more test in your system just makes a man feel a man, more confident.
Yeah. I had no test in my system, so it was literally zero. So I just needed, obviously having no testosterone is not good as well. So finding that sort of sweet spot is going to be beneficial.
Get that libido going again, eh? So,
yeah.
So I was going to say, actually, off the back of that, so obviously, you've just pointed out that people take loads of stuff and some of them haven't got the work ethic in the gym. I've always noticed it to be the other way around. Like, they will work hard in the gym, but they struggle to understand meals. They're not understanding the complexity of getting the calories in. It's everything out of the gym. I've noticed with a lot of my friends that whenever they've cycled anything, really, that's where they struggle the most.
I've always said, like, the 1, 2, even 3 hours that I'm in the gym, smashing myself till I'm sicking up and can't breathe on the floor, is the easy part. The hard part is the meal prep, the feeding every 2 to 3 hours, trying to get at least 8 hours sleep consistently every single day of every single month of every single year. Consistency is the key, and that's why most people don't make it. It's quite simple, but it's hard to do it every single day.
So, Dean, have you thought of, like, obviously Si's already answered, have you thought of an age where you were going to actually come off everything? Or is it something that's not even crossed your mind yet? You're just going to, microdose? That's a term nowadays, I'm microdosing. Is that what you're going to do? Or?
I mean, I put a lot of thought into my health. I'm 41 next month. So you obviously, as you get older, you get wiser and you think a lot more. I've always been health conscious, but a lot more these days. And I'm a lot more driven with health and longevity. I don't just want to live for as long as I can, but I want to live for as long as I can, being healthy and still being able to do shit. So, I put a lot of thought into this question. I took my very first course when I was 19 for competing purposes. I was very lucky to have somebody that guided me and taught me the right way. I always took, people don't believe me even to this day. I'm very open about everything that I take and do. I'll even pull up my blood work and show anybody. But basically, I've always taken small courses, low dosages, and then I always have at least the time off of what I've had on. So if I do normally a 2 to 3 month cycle, I'll have at least 2 to 3 months off. And when I say off, I mean I'm off everything. I don't even do PCT these days because my dosages are pretty low. When I say low, like competing, when I was trying to get as big as I possibly can, the most I'd taken would be like just over 1,000 milligram in a week. And I felt like shit. I came off it and had to reduce it down to more like 800. These days, for the last, say, 4 to 5 years, the maximum I go to is 400 to 600 milligram in a week. And that's normally...
Is that, are we talking just one compound? You're not adding any probe, equipoise, nothing else?
Two. I like sus. It could be any kind of test, but say like I'm doing 2 shots of sus, 2 mil of sus, that's 500 milligram a week. Maybe I chuck in 100 milligram of deca or equipoise, maybe. And then towards the end, maybe a bit of fast acting. But it's always 400 to 600 milligram maximum. Last time I had my bloods done, I came off cold turkey, no PCT, off everything. You feel obviously a test decline, but I feel okay. I just power through it, smash the gym. I'm not as strong. I lift kind of the same weights, but I can't get the same amount of reps out. But I still try and just cut
Dean,
the training.
It's still impressive, mate. It's still impressive.
Oh,
and size, I saw size deadlift with Dorian the other day.
You just lose that fullness, don't you? You lose that sort of...
massively.
Yeah.
But I try and cut down the amount of days that I'm training, get more rest when I come off, and just cut the volume down a bit because my body can't cope. It needs more rest. So I came off. It must have been 6-7 weeks of being off everything. I got my bloods done, and I'll show you the panels. It was pretty much perfect. Normally my test will obviously drop down to pretty much nothing. It came back to normal ranges as low to mid normal ranges, but that's 7 weeks off. So I'm pretty sure if I took off 6 months, I could get my testosterone levels into high normal ranges. I do a lot of cold exposures. I eat a lot of good fats. I'm very clean with my diet. I do lots of things to boost testosterone naturally. So there's many ways.
Yeah.
The last time I came off, I went on a big cleanse and health, reduced my carbs down. I was only eating 2-3 times a day, doing a bit of fasting, all for health purposes.
Yeah.
I knew I'd lost weight. And then 3 months off the gear, I weighed myself. I'd lost 10 kilo. I was like, fuck. So I just jumped back on cycle. 3 month clear out, back on now. I'm doing
Paddington, he was like, he put it back on.
It wasn't a panic. I mean, it's for me, I've done it a million times. I know to come back on. I just increased my food to 5-6 meals a day. First week, 3.5 kilo. 3 weeks into it, I put 8 kilo back on. It's just water glycogen filling back out. Do you know what I mean?
I like not eating as much now. Because today I did a fast. I've only had 1 meal today, so once a week I'm going to try and do like a 20-hour fast, and I do quite enjoy it. I just feel like having a good clear out is good for you once or twice a week.
Hold that thought. Let's talk about the fasting 1 second. Just to answer your question quick, William. I will continue to be doing these very small cycles until the day that my blood work comes back and it's off.
Yeah.
If my blood work's ever off, then I stay off gear until it's right. And if it's never right, then I never go back on gear. That's my opinion.
I appreciate the honesty. So, Si, one thing I have to ask you, mate, it's two things technically, but they sort of tie together. Obviously, you're a gym owner, pretty much world famous gym now, I'd safely say, with ease. You know, yeah, let's get out. Unlimited in Birmingham, everybody go piling. Like I say, it's a two-part question. So obviously, I'd safely say you've mentored quite a lot of your members, and there's one in particular I do want to touch on because he has got quite a good social media presence, and he's a young lad, and he goes by the sort of initials. Is it LSJ?
Oh, Liam, yes.
Yes. So I follow him, and I followed him because I'd seen him on your account, and he's a natural bodybuilder. He's out there. He loves it. He's so passionate about it. And I do see a younger like me when I watch him because it's like every time I see him, it's like he's just watched Pumping Iron for the first time and he's excited to be in the gym. So what I want to ask is, obviously, being a gym owner, mentoring somebody, you know, like what's his name? Liam, is it?
Liam,
yeah. And knowing that there's, you know, this whole steroid industry, how do you manage like members and people that need mentoring and sort of coaching and, you know, even life coaching? And, you know, I'm not using him as an example, but has any sort of members come to you and said, look, you know, I'm thinking about jumping on a cycle, or, you know, do you sort of discourage it? I'm not saying that you're like, oh yeah, come and get some Deca, but like,
they all turn to the dark side eventually.
Yeah. How do you manage that as a gym owner as well?
Well, it depends. I always ask a lot of questions. I mean, if it was just some kid who'd come off the street, I'd obviously know, but someone's seriously, they've been training, like they've had a good few years of foundation, and they're, you know, they're doing everything right, and I can tell they're serious. They're not just going to like take some gear. Then I will also guide them, and you know, a lot of the people that I sort of prep that do compete, and I do compete prep a few natural guys, so it's down to personal decision. I tell them like the pros and cons, what things to look out for. You know, a lot of people just, you know, whack them on a fucking 1,000 milligram, but I'll be as sensible as possible, because ultimately they come to me for advice. And you know, me being older and wiser now, obviously I'm a lot more careful what I take personally. And back then it was just gung ho, like experimenting what was good.
Trial and error,
But now I'm sort of more methodical what I do take, and sort of do a lot of research. So I mean, it's down to them, and ultimately it's down to them. They'll come to me, but I think that by the time they come to me, they've already made a decision that they're going to take something. Yeah, they just want my approval.
Do you think that's what it is? Do you think they look at you and think, "Oh, I want to be like Si"? Because I think that's where most of us first got the idea. It was either, you know, the amount of bodybuilders, even me and Dean have interviewed, you know, who've had some sort of trauma as a child, or were bullied, or they were too small, jumped on bodybuilding to, you know, it was a vanity thing almost. I don't even know where I'm going with this question. So with...
I try and discourage someone, to be honest. I mean, it's unless they were like really wanted to compete, and they were going to compete in a non-tested federation where they're going to be at an unfair disadvantage, then you've got to be realistic. You can say, look, you're not going to be able to get in condition. You're not going to be able to hold the muscle as someone who's competing. So why would you compete with someone that to come fucking top 10, or you know what I mean? So to be a fair advantage, you need to be on the same level.
Do you think as a gym owner, you need to be able to be obviously approachable in the gym about, you know, things like this, and obviously having the background? And do you think that you should be giving advice where needed as a gym owner, or do you think there's a line that can be crossed?
I think there's a lot of advice out there anyway. So, but on a personal level, I'll talk to them about my own personal experiences.
Yeah.
A lot of people do the research, but obviously I've took every steroid you can think of, so I can give my own personal opinion how to take it. And a lot of the things that were available to me 20 years ago aren't available now, and there's a lot of new things probably I haven't took, like SARMs, stuff like that. I don't really know much about SARMs or peptides, so they're probably more clued up about stuff like that than I am. So
Do you think someone like Liam, LSJ, is it LSJ Fitness, I think?
Yeah.
Does someone like that motivate you because he's not doing it? Because that's why I followed him, because he's not, and he's really loving it and he's excited about it.
I wouldn't say he's naive, but he's because he's quite new to this.
Yeah.
And obviously he came from like a home garage gym until a year. He started training my gym, then I employed him to work for me. So this is all very new to him.
Yeah.
And so he's probably a bit, I wouldn't say naive, but he doesn't probably know what goes on. He knows what goes on, but he doesn't know the ins and outs.
Yeah.
He's got an idea, but I'd rather not try and keep him as naive as possible.
Do you like, though, when you see the natural guys putting size on?
Yeah, I love it because it's, we've got a lot of natural talented bodybuilders at my gym, and they sort of migrate to themselves. They sort of got their own little sort of community, and I respect that because obviously I competed naturally for about 5 years myself before I went to the dark side, so I sort of know what it's like.
It's like a big divide in the gym, and they hate us. They're like, you drug-taking cheats.
It kind of is, isn't it? I've been in some, like Strength Asylum's probably one of the worst.
We took Liam.
Some members, not the gym in general.
we took Liam to Strength. He was like a little kid in a candy shop. He was like, oh my God, they got 100-kilo dumbbells. He was spunking over them and video and everything. He's like you say, he wants to be a part of it so much.
Yeah. He loves it.
That's atrocious.
Liam, if you're watching, I love you, dude. I think you're not. I was going to say cute then, not cute. What's the words?
No man wants to be called cute.
He's like a. I don't know. He's just like an excitable puppy, isn't he?
Very enthusiastic.
Enthusiastic. That's the one.
He's good for the brand. Very good for the brand because he appeals to like the younger sort of crowd, probably like the students and stuff like that. So he's got a lot of good ideas. He's very creative. I know he's very passionate, so that's why it works well for us.
He's marketable as well, and for normal people and non-steroid.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
No, he's got a good eye for things, so it works well, definitely.
So just going back to, you was mentioning previously about you've been doing a bit of fasting and you're not eating so much. Do you just want to touch up on that and tell us why? I mean, I have my reasons why. You just want to go into why you've been doing that?
It was whilst I was trying to get my test levels back. Was it last year? Last year over lockdown, I was just doing some research how to bring my test levels back naturally because whatever I was doing wasn't working. And I read that doing intermittent fasting does help increase your tests. I was doing that once a week on a Sunday, and I was doing the 18-hour fasting and eat for 6 hours. Then as I went on, I thought, I could push it, and I was doing like a 20-hour fast. I was just doing it once a week, and I found it quite beneficial. Whether it did increase my test, I can't say it did, but overall health, I did feel a lot better. Just give my digestive sort of bit of a break.
So a little facts out there, if anyone's ever heard of Dr. David Sinclair, he's one of the lead guys in the world at the minute about longevity. Not only does he do anti-aging, but he's now doing reverse aging. I sound like I work for him, but I don't. And one of the main factors he bangs on about for longevity is fasting. He only eats like once a day. And all of the experiments in the labs with mammals and everything is the less often they eat, the more it's like, it's all down to blood sugar levels, really. The more your blood sugar levels are up and down, the more it's going to take off your life. So again, bodybuilders cramming in huge amounts of carbs, and the ones eating crap and sugar and cocoa pops and shit after years. All this fucking spiking your blood sugar levels to make your insulin go up. This massively unhealthy for your longevity. Just wanted to put that one out there.
Yeah, so bodybuilding is like the opposite of longevity. So everything you do bodybuilding, like the gear, the 6-7 meals a day, it goes against the longevity. I was watching a few videos on that. Yeah, I agree.
You've gone a lot like me now, haven't you, Simon? I'm in this dilemma at the minute. I want to look good, but I want to live forever and be healthy. So trying to juggle that balance to get a bit of both. one extreme is going to take the other.
Yeah, I'm not chasing. I don't want to get any bigger. I want to get a bit leaner. I mean, I'm the big 5-0 this year, so I just want to be as healthy and look as good as I possibly can. So I think I'm doing okay so far.
Oh, I thought you were a lot younger than that. When Dean said he was like 40 or 40, I was like, what?
49.
I thought you were like my age in your 30s.
No,
He's 9 years on me.
God, it's just nice to be the youngest in the room for once.
Yeah. So the key then is do some fasting, eat loads of vegetables, and you'll look as young as Simon when you're 50. He's actually 105. Did you know that?
Do you reckon?
Yeah.
No, but I am definitely more mindful the last couple of years since coming out of hospital of what I eat, what I do to my body, and it does being in hospital it does scare you, you know what I mean, and especially. I had my good friend Mike Sheridan die last year, and he was saying he was 50 when he passed away, and obviously said 44, Sean Roden 46. Just there's no age to die, is it?
It's perspective, isn't it? It's a reality check that gets cashed very quickly, isn't it?
These are people with families. They got kids and stuff. Do you know what I mean? It's heart-wrenching to see, not only knowing that person then passed away, but then their family having to deal with that, losing the father so young. It's devastating, and for what? It's crazy. I mean, as in bodybuilding, I don't compete anymore, but I still want to look good and hold size. It's so much easier to maintain muscle than it is to try and gain extra muscle. Yeah. So I guess me and Simon have got that age on side where we've got pretty big at some point. We've done the hard work and the years put in all that to get there. So now with the maintenance, you can be pretty healthy and maintain a decent size. But trying to get there in the first place, do it while you're younger, your body can cope. I guess that's the takeaway from that. One more thing, Si, you was mentioning about gear. You were saying you tried pretty much everything and you're so much more health conscious these days. For anybody getting into the sport and the younger guys now, would you give us a little breakdown of the do's and don'ts? What drugs would you definitely stay away from, and what drugs would you only use if you was competing, or what drugs?
For someone starting their sort of
getting into bodybuilding, wanting to compete, or just want to put a bit of eyes on.
Tell you what, I took my first cycle. I just took a shot of testosterone in Testex, 250 milligram every 5 days.
So you were straight to injectables?
Yeah.
No way. Everybody I've spoke to, even pros, it's been like, a handful of Dianabol a day.
5 D-ball a day. I thought, it was a very effective course. Your first cycle was, but
It's always the best though, isn't it?
Yeah.
That's when you get an itch.
I'm the same as Simon. My first course was straight to a big fat prick in my ass. I bent over and took it.
I think a shot of testosterone, 250, 300 milligram is plenty. Maybe something like Deca or something like that, 250. So 500 milligrams is probably more than enough. If you're not going to grow from that from your first cycle, then I think that's plenty.
Okay, so off the back of that, off the back of what Dean said, what would you say? Because obviously you've both mentioned, having a foundation of muscle and a foundation of knowledge. What would you say would need to be the prerequisites before jumping onto a cycle?
I think you've got to train for probably at least 3 to 4 years naturally. Then you sort of hit your sort of potential naturally. I mean, a lot of people, they come to the gym after like 6 weeks.
Straight on, yeah.
Yeah, they're wanting to compete after 6 weeks, get a coach, get fucking this and that. And, I just feel like slapping them. I did compete after 3 months of training, but I was different.
It built different.
How long was you training for before you touched any gear?
I was 16 when I first competed, and I was 21, so 5 years.
So that's quite a long time of putting in the graft naturally, isn't it?
Yeah.
Then it's only because I couldn't get any gear.
You didn't know what it was back then.
I had the same issue for about a year. No one would give it me. No one wouldn't look at me twice. I was there with cash in my hand. They were like, no. This was
like early 90s, so no one really. You couldn't really go to anyone to talk about it, and you had to know someone who knew someone, and no one ever talked about it back then. So the availability was a lot less.
So just think, when Simon was like 16 and he was competing, it was like 1925, was it? I don't think they'd even invented gear back then a day.
What was Jesus like, Si? It was the Last Supper because Si ate everything. He was born.
Yeah. Okay. Let's finish off that question. Could you give us a couple of steroids you'd say to stay away from, or too harsh?
There's certain steroids that are very effective, but on the downside, they've got very strong side effects. But the worst one, I think you've got the same trenbolone, long-acting trenbolone and anphate. It just made me very sort of depressed. The effects in the gym are great. I felt strong. I felt aggressive.
Sweat a lot with that.
Yeah, the night sweats.
Yeah,
the aggression, the mood swing.
I can't stand trenbolone, but I remember when Simon used to run the Temple gym, and I was quite young then. I was competing, and I always come to Simon for a bit of advice on gear, and I said, "So I'm ready to try a new cycle. Like, what do you recommend?" He says, "Yeah, I'll try this," and he gave me a bottle, Tren and Anphate. A little bit of test, a little bit of Tren and Anphate. So I was take his advice, because I look up to Simon. 2, 3, 4 weeks in, I'm getting so depressed. I want to kill myself. And I walk in the gym. I said, "Simon," he says, "You are?" I said, "I don't feel like trying. I just feel like hanging myself." He went, yeah, that'd be the Tren and Anphate. I felt the same. I said, "Well, where the fuck did you tell me?" I wanted to see how you reacted on it.
Oh, that's cold, Si.
Yeah,
like 1 mil a week. It didn't agree with me. It was horrible.
I've never took it since. It's just I've took normal trenbolone, the fast acting, which doesn't affect this bad. But the Tren and Anphate was just, I don't know, just horrible stuff.
I was the same. I mean, whenever I competed, I'd use a little bit of Tren acetate, be like 150 milligram a week maximum, just for the last 6 weeks up to a show. And I find you just get a bit more fuller, a bit harder. It gives you a really good look, but it's super toxic on your body. It sends your blood pressure through the roof, which in turn is then going to put massive stress on your kidneys. It's not a good drug. It's so androgenic. So obviously you'll get a lot of strength, you get aggression, but the more androgenic the drug, the lot more side effects you're going to get from it. So just unless you're competing close to a show, don't touch it. It will fuck your life. Bang for your buck. You ain't getting better than a testosterone, are you? It's super anabolic. It's cheap. You need a small amount.
It's quite addictive after that first cycle, isn't it? Because you have such tremendous gains, and you think, "Oh, more is better." And it's then you start experimenting. Off the back of that, is there anything, even like fast acting, esters that you guys tried that were trash, or you maybe still continue to use?
I'd say on par with Tren, if not worse. I'd always take them the last, say, 10 to 14 days to a show, never longer than 2 weeks.
So this was only for a show. What was that, like propionate or something?
Would be some halo testing. And it would really make you crazy hard, give you a great look, but it's super, super toxic. And obviously that's a tablet, so you're getting a double whammy. It's going through your digestive tract, through your kidneys, into your system, and through your kidneys again. So I just don't recommend you touching that unless you're competing and it's for a minimum amount of time. As in steroids, them probably the worst. Fat burners, I hate fat burners. Clenbuterol is probably one of the best. I can't stand
Clen. I can't stand it. I sat there like
it's probably one of the best fat burners.
I read a research on it though. I think it was 2 Clen a day was only like equivalent to about 200 calories. I thought I'd rather eat less. Like, I'm cutting anyway. Why bother?
This is it. So Clen's pretty safe. And it's a very good fat burner because it helps to keep you anabolic. but the feeling is disgusting.
Yeah, it's not nice.
Like anxiety attacks and shaking. It's in the center of it. It's just vile, to be honest. For the little it does, just do an extra fucking half hour on the treadmill. Do you know what I mean?
I started something a few weeks ago. I think I told Dean, and I lasted 3 days, and the cramps and the shaking.
That's it, with the cramps as well. Yeah.
Cramps. Oh God, yeah.
It was horrible. That's come up. It was affecting my sleep as well. So obviously I tracked my sleep every night, and my sleep was like being compromised. And just the cramps, bad cramps. I couldn't train. Couldn't even.
So it makes the muscle contract harder, don't it? Is that the way you get cramps?
Yeah. It was in my neck. It was just like I'll be eating food, yeah, and my neck be cramped like that, and Kirsty goes, "What the fuck's wrong with you?"
Like you slept with the window open.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, like, cleanse probably the safest, but the side effects are just vile to cope with.
It's just not comfortable, is it? I mean, for me personally, was probably T3. I, again, thinking at a young age, I knew everything. I was taking stupid doses. Now I'm on thyroid medication for life.
Oh yeah,
125 milligrams per day. And I'm on rivaroxaban blood thinner because I did far too much gear, far too much, trying to like cut weight and all the rest of it. Wasn't even competing. It was all vanity at the time. And I had ended up with a bilateral pulmonary embolism in hospital. My blood was like just gloopy. It was just that. And it's a reality check, isn't it? And it's like, it's one I needed. And like I say, it needed to be cashed in quick. And I haven't touched anything since. But that's why I'm always inquisitive to ask, whether it's pro level or anybody on, in the fitness industry, their opinion on it. And like, obviously Dean's saying, like, what are the things you'd stay away from? For me, it would always be, I would always tell people, just don't even bother. If you can't cut that weight enough to a certain point and you're not even competing, you shouldn't be taking anything because your knowledge just isn't there. If you can't get your body fat down for abs, that's what, most gym goers want. If you're cutting weight, it's because you want your abs, you want your hip flexors showing, all the rest of it, isn't it?
It's exactly that, mate. And these, if you're going to take these kind of fat burners, it should be as a last precaution.
Yeah.
Just to get you that crazy shredded to get on stage.
Yeah.
And you're looking at like 3% body fat kind of. If you just want to get lean and look good, why are you taking
they're taking, pro elite level drugs because they're going out of Ibiza for a weekend, and it's like, what are you doing, mate?
Yeah, they want to eat shit. So as a no fat, but the Cambridge was pretty safe. The T3, you've had that experience. So now do they give you T4 for medication?
No, well, again, I'm not saying I don't take T3. I'm saying my personal experience, I didn't take it properly. I wasn't taking my gear properly.
You can take T3 for a long time. A small dose.
Yeah.
25 months.
It was a lack of knowledge on my behalf, and especially with the steroids, it was like, my mate was like, take these fast acting, take this. And my cycle, I compared it to there was one on, it was on, when you type in Google images. It was not far off, without exaggerating, a piano.
Oh wow.
It was stupid, mate. It was stupid. It was just pure ignorance to understanding my own body, understanding, the side effects of all these things. It was me thinking, more is better. I'll get bigger quicker.
How much weight did you put on? How much muscle did you put on?
I got up to, I was, at the time when I had my pulmonary embolism, I was 18 and a half stone. And I was literally walking, my little boy, he was a baby at the time, in a stroller. And it was a slight hill in a park. And I just collapsed. I was gone. And ambulance came, took me straight to the, to the hospital. They were struggling to figure out what was even going on at this point because, the last thing they were expecting, because I was in my mid-20s at the time, was a PE, because that's, 9 times out of 10 is an elderly person. So when they did this scan, my lungs were peppered, but I had a major clot in the middle of my lungs, obviously being bilateral. I had one in my calf. And they give me this sort of injection. I think it was in the stomach. I had this for over 2 or 3 days, I think it was, which is like this blood thinner, I'm guessing. Well, I had to sign a waiver before they gave it to me because obviously taking a blood thinner can make the blood clots mobile, because if they're stopped, once they start thinning, they can break away. Yeah. So obviously, like we said earlier, it can go to the heart, the brain. Yeah. and they were like, what do you want to do? And I can remember lying on this bed. My girlfriend had just dropped me off. She had to go and take my son. And I just, like, you know, when they have the curtains around you, mine was wide open, and I had my hoodie in my hand, and I was crying. So I had to like pretend like I was covering my face. I didn't know what was going to happen. I just panicked. One of my friends who actually owns the gym, his wife was the nurse that came over to me, and she was like saying, you know, it is quite serious. I'm thinking, you're not fucking helping me. Like, but since that day, not touched the thing. I was in there for 2 weeks, came out in a wheelchair. Then I was on a Zimmer frame for a couple of weeks, and it was physiotherapy. And then it's like medication for life now for being stupid,
It's a very traumatic experience to be having at that kind of age, just from abusing basically steroids that most young lads are going in the gym and doing these days and thinking it's okay, it's safe.
The worst part of it for me from this experience was the few weeks leading up to it. I kept saying to my girlfriend, there's something wrong. And I went to see my GP 4 times. Twice he gave me 2 different inhalers. And I told him what I was taking. He had no understanding of, he'd never heard of Deca. He'd never heard of, what was I taking? So it was Deca. I think it wasn't, I came off sus because I knew I could break it down into each individual ester. So I was taking Test Prop, you know, you name it, Equipoise, the whole lot. And I was saying all these drugs. He turned around and went on to Google. And I'm thinking, for fuck's sake, like, I could have done that. I think that's worrying when your GP turns to Google.
Yeah, the thing is, a lot of the GPs, they know a little bit about so much, and not a lot about one subject, so they have to refer you to specialists. It's a hard job. I wouldn't want to do that. It's incredibly hard. So yeah, they usually just have references and look it up and then figure out where to send you. So fat burners, Cleanse T3. I think Cleanse a lot better than T3 because T3 can make you look a bit flat as well. And then you got things like DMP, which, in my opinion, you just got to be stupid if you're going to take that. And I know guys that take it just so they can eat burgers. This drug is basically microwaving your body from the inside out. It's destroying, breaking down cells. You will massively dehydrate yourself, and you can die from dehydration. Many people have. You're just sweating buckets. You stink on it. It's why anyone would take it. I'm baffled because people will argue the case that it's completely safe as long as your dose is right. But if you go slightly overdose, you're dead. So I'm relying upon the drug dealer that's making this drug in his bathtub to have that dose right. You don't know how much he's put in that. So I'm trusting whether that's the right dose. I take it tiny bit too much, I'm dead. To me, that's stupid. What's your thoughts on that side? And you got any others to add to the no-no list?
I've never took DMP, and to be honest, I don't know many people that have taken it, not around me. So
there's a few
it was around in the 90s, but I don't think it's as much now. But personally, I've not touched it, and it's nothing I'd sort of look on touching. But to the list, probably taking some GH. Obviously, that's I'm taking GH now for fat burning and sort of longevity. So
whenever I hear somebody say they're taking GH, I think you must have some cash, man.
He owns his own. He's got cash.
No, but it's like so expensive.
Yeah.
You know what? I don't drink it. I don't go out. I don't. I've got a pretty much boring life, so I can justify having a couple of years of GH.
Mate, I'm not calling you out on what you spend your money on. As soon as people say, I think, fuck.
You're talking 30 quid a week, really.
What's your experiences with growth hormone, Simon? Because I get so many people asking me, like, they want to try out growth and they expect to get massive on it and they expect a lot.
Back in the day when I first started taking it, we're talking probably mid-90s when you used to get the proper pharmaceutical genotropin pens, cartridges. I used to get it off a nurse who used to get it off a dwarf, and that's
no pun for people watching. That's what it's actually for.
It was amazing. You could literally, see the fat coming off you like by the day, and you just. But I've not had anything probably like it since probably. I've had a few different type of this. GH is so fake, so you don't really know what you're getting. But I have used proper GH, and the effects it just gets you so lean, so quick. You can't compare it to anything else. Proper
Any
GH.
bad side effects you've experienced towards it?
I've got obviously the carpal tunnel syndrome. But that was only doing probably because it's so expensive. You can only do 2 or 3 IUs anyway, so I wasn't caning it. Side effects not much really. Just the carpal tunnel syndrome, a bit of water retention.
It can mess with your blood sugars, can't it? A little.
Yeah, I mean, I never had any. My mind's pretty fine, but I was only doing like I said. I think most stuff took was 3 IUs, 3 proper pharmaceutical stuff.
I think it's a pretty safe drug as far as drugs go.
Yeah.
Again,
because I had like certain ends, I'd had to like space it out to how many weeks I was competing for. So a pen would last me probably 10 if you do 3.5 IUs because they come with 36 IUs. So you'd have to save like 10 pens for like the whole course. It was expensive and there's the availability as well. Do you know what I mean?
So correct me if I'm wrong, Syke. I mean, you probably know a lot more of this than I do. But from what I've been led to believe is when you inject the growth hormone, it goes into your body and it gets converted into IGF-1, and then it gets used. So your body can only convert so much of that growth hormone into IGF, can't it? So taking more than 4, maybe 5 IUs would probably be a waste if you do it in one go. I know guys who were taking like 10, 20 IUs that can't be doing anything, can it? Apart from taking away all your money from your pocket. Yeah,
I mean, I didn't think I got big from taking growth hormone. I was taking it purely for conditioning, like to get the body fat, and it did work. At 3 IUs, what I was doing, the fat was definitely coming off. So size, I couldn't say. I mean, I think testosterone is far more effective.
Yeah,
DECA is far more effective than taking GH. Is very expensive and it's not cost effective. So when I spoke to people like Dorian, when he experimented with GH, he was doing 16 IUs, and that point where he went from 240 to 260. He did say he was taking more GH, but he was taking high dosages frequently. So he was doing
would he be splitting out throughout the day, having multiple injections?
He told me he was having 1 hit of GH. I might be wrong, but he was doing 16 IUs 3 times a week. He was trying small amounts throughout the week, but he said he had his best gains doing high amounts, like 1 big hit, but less frequently.
Okay.
Yeah, and I spoke to Rolly Winkler. And he was telling me the same sort of thing. He was doing like a pen every 2 days of growth back in the day. So
is that pre-oxygen, Jim, or at oxygen?
This was when he was a grandma. And,
I like it. She was so fucking straight.
I've always been led to believe if you take much more than 4 or 5 in one go, it's pointless. But obviously, these guys are doing it, and they're some of the biggest guys you'll ever see. So, kind of proofs in the pudding, isn't it? Unless you ever think.
I suppose it's genetics as well, though, isn't it? Because even with what you eat, your body's only going to take in what your body decides to take in. That's why we force feed the meals and everything else, isn't it?
And genetic-wise, to how your body copes taking what amount in.
Yeah.
When people say you can only absorb 30 grams of protein in one sitting, say that to Ronnie Coleman, he'd have to eat 20 times a day, which means he wouldn't get any sleep whatsoever. It's stupid.
I used to, like I was saying on the last podcast with Dean and the lads, I used to blend my tuna and drink it. I was so obsessed. It was stupid.
What's the worst thing you did, Si? I did the tuna shakes as well. What's the most disgusting thing?
I never did the tuna shakes. What have I done now? I remember drinking the liquid egg whites. But,
yeah.
Drinking it and having the worst fucking farts and shits ever.
It can't be easy for your body to digest that.
Oh god.
And I remember mixing like weight gain shakes. Back in the day, we used to have the Mega Mass. I think it was 4,000. The Weider Mega Mass. We're talking like late 80s, early 90s. So it was 4,000 calories per serving, and I used to mix it with full fat milk and putting ice cream in with it. So it's about 6,000 calories. And each scoop was about that big.
How was your gut after one of them?
Well, I was still at school when I was taking it, so it was like I took this big thermos to work with, to school with about 10,000 calories. I was just drinking it in my lessons.
Okay. You remember the nourishment shakes, the tin?
Yeah.
When I was young like that, I was trying to bulk up. I was drinking 5 of them a day. It's just like milk, isn't it? It's like 500 calories in a tin or something, because I was guzzling them all day long on top of my food. But it's just
I can remember the first two I had one was from Argos. You remember York?
Yeah.
I used to get like 6 tubs for like 40 quid. And then my second one was actually a Dorian Yates one at Powerhouse, which is near me. And it came in this like giant, like rectangular paint tub. I'm thinking, shit, this is going to last me ages. I've got my year's worth of protein, like 2 weeks in, and it was gone because it was like 6 scoops per
10 scoops a serving. This is porridge, trying to stir it.
Crazy.
Looking back now, I mean, I would never touch weight gain drink. I would never touch sort of mass gainers. It's just so
sugar and shit, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do you remember something called Cybergenics back in the day?
Cybergenics.
You're probably too young to know.
Is this like our day? Like, is this?
Yeah, Google it. It was like a secret sort of supplement stack. It was about early 90s, and it was like you buy like a 6 weeks worth. It was in a fancy box, and you'd have like different sort of things for morning and night. It was just full of like, I think it was just herbs, but the way it was marketed, it was like, oh, you had to get it. It was quite expensive. It was £100 a box, and it was the thing. Cybergenic.
I remember the Celtic and all that. When I was a kid growing up, that was kind of what was on the market.
I found it on a website. Apparently, it's the world's second worst supplement scam ever. There was a TV advert that ran for this as well.
Yeah.
Yeah. What was the first?
He doesn't even say. Like, I'd want to know what the first one was. It doesn't even say.
So, earlier on, going back to a little bit of health, you were saying that you track your sleep now. I mean, I track on mine with my watch, but you've got one of them Aura rings, haven't you?
Yeah, I'm just charging it now on my thing. Yeah.
What, sorry?
How's that going? Do you want to explain a little bit about that?
I absolutely love it. I mean, it's I've had it about just under 2 months now. So,
it's an actual ring.
It's an actual ring. Yeah, can you see it? So it's quite cool actually. So you wear the sensors on it. I don't know if you can see.
Oh right, okay. Oh wow.
So you wear it. I mean, you wear it.
Life tracking.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, on the wedding thing.
Yeah, when it comes off, she knows.
But I've been wearing this for 2 months now.
Oh, that's
it's because he took it off.
2 months, Yes. So basically, I really want to get one of these. I've been banging on about one for ages.
What are they called? What are they called? I want to have a look now.
Aura ring. Ben Greenfield was always banging on about it, and he got me into it. And it tracks everything. Like, so I want it for my sleep more than anything, because I'm really into tracking my sleep, as in REM sleep, deep sleep, how much total sleep. Because it's so important to get sleep just for health in general, let alone.
So you're tracking it now on your Apple Watch?
Yeah. I mean, everyone in the world needs minimum 7 hours sleep, and I don't care what they say. If they can cope with 5 hours sleep, it's taken from their health.
That's one thing I hate when you see these like entrepreneurs. Well, I get up and I only have 4 hours sleep. It's like, bro, live your life a little bit.
Years old, they've got Alzheimer's disease.
So for those watching, if you go to Aura, which is OURA ring.com, they are $299 with a monthly subscription fee. And I presume that's optional.
That sounds cheap. I'm sure Simon's was about £400 or something.
Well, this is just the silver, so I'm guessing maybe he's got like, they do a stealth. Yeah, so I think his looked like the stealth one, which is $399.
Of course, you'd have to have the best one. It's probably like diamonds embedded into it or something.
Mate, it looks like something Tony Stark made.
Yeah, it's sick. Oh, I need one.
That's why you want it. It's just a tech thing, and it's guys with tech in it.
I'm a geek. I like to track things. I have to monitor everything going on in my life so I can be in control of it.
You couldn't wear that doing a deadlift, though, could you? Really?
No, I'd take it off training. Because the watch is good, but even that, if I'm wearing straps.
The issue I have with tracking my sleep with the watch is I need to charge the bloody thing, and I don't want to take it off in the day because then I'm losing because I like to make sure I'm closing my rings. Not because I'm like trying to hit a target. It's just like an OCD thing. It's like I haven't stood long enough to get up. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But then it's like if I'm taking it off in the day to charge it, it's not tracking whatever I do. Then if I want to track my sleep, it's not charged. I don't know. That's the dilemma I have with the Apple Watch.
I got a routine. They charge really quick, don't they? So when I get up in the morning, I do see my sleep. I put it on charge while I have a shower. And then on the evening when I get back, I have my second shower. I put it on charge again. Yeah. Normally it needs one charge, but giving it that two, it never, ever runs out on me.
So you don't think you're burning any calories in the shower?
Well, you know what? I don't care. You know, it's as stupid as it sounds. I don't track my calories at all, and none of that nonsense and steps and bullshit. I eat the same foods every day, and I track my weights weekly. But when I train, if I start training and I haven't pressed go, it's panic mode.
Oh fuck! When you forget,
we've got to start again now. Or when we've done, we've got to do it all again.
Mate, this is how bad mine is. I walked up the stairs. I looked, my watch light vibrated, and I looked at it, and it said that I was on an exercise bike. I'm thinking, shit, how out of shape am I? Because I've got 2 flights of stairs, and my watch is going, bloody hell, are you working out, mate?
There's a funny story about these. I've seen it come up on my fact finder page. So this girl actually caught her boyfriend cheating on her because at like 4 a.m, the watches were linked, and it was sending a signal saying these fucking massive these spikes like he's doing a workout at 4 a.m. in the morning because he's fucking some bird, isn't it? And he got caught out. Top tip.
What series have you got? Have you got a new one or?
Newish, but not that new. I can't remember.
Mate, I've still got the Series 3.
I think it's a 4, to be honest.
Oh, I think they're up to 7 now, mate.
Yeah, I'm way behind.
So behind. I've only, like, about 4 months ago, got an iPad Pro.
Yeah, I'm crap with technology. I only want it for the sleep. That's why I really want to get the ring. It's a lot more accurate.
I'm one of them people that will turn around to my girlfriend and say, I need this because, and then I try and justify me buying something, and then I look back and think, did I need that iPad? Because I'm playing games on it most of the day.
Yeah,
I'm like, yeah, it's for work. I need to get the Apple Pencil. I'm going to do my thumbnails on it. I do still do my thumbnails on it, but for like 10 minutes.
My missus is the same. She wanted the iPad, so I got her one for her birthday. So it was a must. I need this. I'm going to work on it and do. It doesn't get used. We watch it on the kitchen table when we're eating dinner. That's it.
Exactly.
I want all this technology. We have to be careful what I say because she wants it as well. And if I buy one, I got to buy her one as well. So it's double the money.
Sorry, the internet went down.
It's all right, mate. We were just on about your Iron Man ring. We actually looked at it on the site. $400.
Yeah, so it's, you know what, it's for me it's worth it because this is the sort of scores it gives.
Okay, yeah.
So each morning gives you like a readiness score, so out of 100. So mine's been pretty good because since I brought it, you sort of know what to look out for and stuff. So it tracks your readiness, your sleep, so your total sleep, efficiency, how much you sort of move around in bed, REM sleep, deep sleep, latency, which is like how fast you fall asleep. So it gives you a score out of 100 every day, every morning.
Does that give you a good idea of what time you should be going to bed then? Because I presume when you're in the gym, you have to be up ridiculously early.
You wear it for 2 weeks, and it sort of knows your habits, and it tells you, it gives you like it'll send you a message that this is the time you should be winding down, turning your phone out, going getting ready for bed. and gives you my steps. Like I try and do 20,000 steps a day.
20,000.
Yeah. It's just good because tells you like different habits, things you should be looking out for. If you should be days you should be taking it easy in the gym or having a rest. Days you should be sort of.
Have you got that with because I noticed it's got like a membership deal. Is that just the standard app?
Well, I think you get 12 months or 6 months with that price, and I think after 6 months you have to start paying. I've had it probably 2 months now, and I definitely recommend it. I definitely you become quite obsessed with it actually, because you're checking your scores every 5 minutes.
I've got to have a nap. I need to get my score up.
Every time I have a nap, your score goes up. So like my sleep was like the best ever I got. My sleep was 90, 95. I mean that's pretty good. So I was trying to get a nap, trying to get to 100, but
is your productivity improving or decreasing though?
I'd say it's improving because I wasn't probably doing enough steps before, and I try and do like about 8,000 before I get to the gym every day.
So you think you weren't physically tired enough to go to sleep then?
Because obviously I'm trying to drop a bit of body fat, so it was a good way to sort of be monitoring how much steps, how much activity I was doing. So it gives you like a number that I try and hit every day as a gauge.
Basically, you're consistent with the same amount every day.
Exactly. Yeah. If I'm around the late 80s to sort of 90s, then everything's good. Definitely, yeah.
So with my watch, I usually mainly use it for the sleep, and then when I wake up in the morning, I do the breathing, and it links it together, and it shows you your HRV, and that basically is telling you your readiness. Like, so if I've smashed legs today or back, big session, my HRV will be really low tomorrow, and it's basically saying your body needs a fucking rest. If ever you're ill or you run down, your HRV will be low. If you had shit sleep, your HRV will be low. Now, I know your ring is a lot more accurate than these watches. So when you're tracking your HRV on that, do you ever listen to it and hold back where before maybe you'd go and have a big
I do actually. Yeah, I do. Yeah.
Do you find that very beneficial?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's sort of subconsciously just when you see your scores low. But to be honest, I've been sort of taking a bit more care of my body. Everything's been good. So
you'd say it's more improving your life than controlling your life. So
exactly,
taking back control to improve it.
Yes. It makes it more mindful about things.
You say you're taking a lot more care of your body. Is that just what you're doing anyway, or do you think this ring's helped you to monitor?
I mean, getting older, sort of being more health conscious. I think the ring was definitely. I was up and around thinking like it's $400, but once I got it, I love it. I absolutely, I swear by it. It's definitely helped me improve.
It is a lot of money, but it's a one-off payment, isn't it? And
it's one-off.
Yeah, but so's an Apple Watch, really. They're not cheap.
Yeah,
let's be honest.
Yeah, and it's tracking your health at the end of the day. I mean, I know how to track everything I possibly can to keep on top of it. If anything's off, you can put it right before it goes wrong.
I mainly look at my Apple Watch for the rings, or to see who's messaged who I'm ignoring for that hour. Do you know what I mean? I'm like, oh, it's only my mum. I'll call her later. Love you, mum.
It annoys me when someone sends me a picture because it comes up blurred, and then I really want to see what the picture is. So
normally, it's WhatsApp. If they do it on iMessage, you can see it because it's Apple. WhatsApp, to like, no, open your phone.
Yeah.
It's probably for the best, really, if someone's sending you a pic.
Yeah. Okay, so Simon's...
That's pretty cool,
though. Bedtime approaching, look.
Okay, we better wrap this up. It's his bedtime. His ring's calling.
That's what that was subtle. That was. It's like, come on, guys, shut up. I need to go bed.
Yeah. So, okay, then we'll have to wrap this up soon. Simon's ring has spoken. Will give us a few...
That sounds so bad.
Simon's ring has spoken.
That's the title of this. Talking about size ring.
Leave my ring piece out of it.
You don't normally say that. So, run us through a couple of Sci fans' top health tips. Then, what should you be doing on a daily to help your longevity and just health in general?
So what I'm doing now, I'll have a bit of a routine. Wake up, I'll have 2 glasses of Kangen water, as you know.
We had a little speak about Kangen last time, innit? So
you guys have got too much spare cash. How much? Which model did you get, Si?
K8, obviously. You ain't gonna get a shit one.
So you had your Armani water.
So I have the Kangen water, then I try and sort of not watch any TV, not sort of do any sort of social media. Then I'll go for an hour walk, fasted. Then I've started doing, especially I've started skipping breakfast and having my first meal just before about an hour before I train. So I'm sort of skipping, sort of doing a bit of a fast. So definitely the hydration, the cardio in the morning, fasted.
So when you do your cardio, you're doing it outside, you get out in nature?
Yeah, I do outside. Religious, I do outside. Even if it's raining, pissing down, I'll do it outside. I just don't like doing it in the gym. Limiting sugar, no sort of processed foods.
So you tell bodybuilders they can't have Cocoa Pops and muffins after training.
I keep it simple, just a banana and some oats and a shake after training. Obviously my meals after that, which is rice. But you see what I do. I eat quite clean. Mm-hmm. Then I try and get at least 7.5 hours to 8 hours of sleep a night. Yeah, and I'll just take all my vitamins, minerals, stuff like that.
Do you get many plants in, many vegetables throughout your meals?
Yeah, I try and eat at least 3 meals with veg, like broccoli stem, carrots, sort of spinach. And if I do, because I've sort of not been having my first meal, I do drink a greens drink when I get back from my cardio. Sort of get my greens in.
So there you have it. If you want to look like Simon when you're 105, he doesn't look a day over 30.
And I have limited my red meat, so I've dropped my red meat probably. I was eating it probably every day, but I've probably dropped it down to like probably 3 times a week now, 3-4 times a week.
It's hard, isn't it? Because you know it's like it's not the best, but then when you're eating like a lot of plain stuff, you want to throw something in, don't you?
Mm-hmm.
So just like I mean, obviously meat is packed full of vitamins and brilliant proteins for muscle growth. If you want to look good, you want to be eating good meat, really, to pack on good muscle. But we all know too much meat over long periods of time can be very bad for you. Do you limit your meats or your proteins at all because you slammed a bit of back on?
Yeah, because I'm sort of trying to cut down a little bit. I'm not really fussed about being 16.5, 17 stone, so I could live quite easily 3 meals a day and a shake. So I'm not really that bothered about it, you know what I mean? As long as I'm, you know, can still perform in the gym, I can look half decent. I'm not fussed about having to get 5 or 6 protein meals in. So I'm probably hitting 200 grams, which is not a lot really.
So you're holding a ton of muscle to only be eating 200 grams of protein. Yeah. I guess that's maintenance for your muscle.
Yeah.
It's that powering.
Powering.
Mm.
What about carb-wise? Are you eating a lot of carbs now?
Carb-wise, I have oats before and after training and a banana. So that's probably 50 grams of oats. So I've got about 40 grams of carbs before and after training, so 80 grams. Then I'll have a packet of rice. So that's what, 6. I've probably about 250 grams of carbs a day. Yeah. And I was having a few months ago, I was having more fats, more like avocado. I've sort of cut them down now, but I have a lot of oily fish, like 3-4 times a week. So I've swapped the red meat for the oily fish.
What's your go-to fish?
Huh?
What's your go-to fish?
I go through stages, but I love salmon at the moment.
Yeah. You go farmed or just sorry, do you go wild or just regular farmed?
I try and get wild when I can, but it depends what's available.
So expensive as well, isn't it?
Money's not an option to say at this point.
You gotta
His go-to fish at this point is caviar.
yeah.
I do like caviar. Actually.
He's got a slave he sends out and catches his wild salmon.
If anyone scrolls through Si's Instagram, go and have a look. Everyone go and have a look now. You scroll through, it's like training, posh restaurant. Training, posh restaurant.
Just caught this wild salmon this morning.
He has fun just as hard as he trains. Don't let him fool you.
Yeah, I do like to eat out, but even though I do eat quite healthy, I am quite mindful.
I mean, I've been many times with you, and you always pick the healthy options, isn't it? Like, delicious.
I'd never have a pizza or fried chicken or something like that. It'd always be like grilled fish or. I enjoy eating healthy.
Yeah. So you mentioned you upped your fats a little bit not so long back. You dropped them down a bit. You say fats as in good fats. So
so like an avocado, like whole eggs. So I was having 6 whole eggs in the morning, and avocado. So it was quite a lot of fat, and obviously trying to trim down a little bit. So I've cut that meal out. So I probably dropped about 80 grams of fat out my diet just by doing that, which is about 600-700 calories, isn't it?
Now, how do you feel on not on low fats? Are you just on lower?
Nah, I feel all right actually. I mean, cause I'm sort of doing this fasting, so your body sort of tells you when you need stuff, doesn't it? I'm not restricting anything too far. I'm still eating a lot of adequate calories.
Okay, what's your pro tip then, Si, for meal prepping? Is it air fryer? Are you a Tupperware guy? Loads the day before?
I always prepare my food in the morning, go to the gym. So I steam everything. I've got one of these things where, I don't know if it's me being Chinese, but we'll put everything in one thing, different compartments. And
I do that for my Sunday dinners.
It's easy. It's just easy, and it keeps the moisture.
Yeah.
So you don't have to watch it then.
Very healthy as well, isn't it? Steaming.
Yeah.
I used to use the water after when you've steamed all the veg and put some of it in my gravy mix.
Yeah, a lot of the vitamins come out.
Yeah, exactly.
Into the water.
You're not seeing my pan. I don't clean it for about 3 weeks.
What, frying pan or a wok?
No, it's just like it's a steamer. It's like the
sort of dish at the bottom, right? Yeah.
So you scrape the bottom off and then mold them into pills, and then with your vitamins.
I remember I
sells them in the gym.
It's all green, mouldy. I hadn't washed it for about 3 weeks. I thought, okay, time to wash it. I will get an air fryer because everyone's talking about these air fryers. I think when I move house, I will get one.
I thought you got married.
The race, I do.
Yeah.
I thought you got married so you don't have to clean.
Ooh, that's brave.
What do you mean they don't? That's it. My wedding's off.
Well, have you got one booked then, Dean?
No date set. We spoke about it. We will get married.
We had a chat about it. It might happen. We don't know.
I bought rings. We bought rings, but we haven't set a date yet.
For those of you who don't know, so Si's wife was actually in. Wow, what was it called? What was the show called, Si?
Take Me Out.
Take Me Out. Yeah. Kirsty, isn't it? That's it.
Yes.
Yeah. Did Paddy go to your wedding?
No, he didn't go to. No, he didn't.
Okay.
No.
Well, let's ruin this thumbnail.
No, he didn't. We didn't meet on Take Me Out as well. People think we met on Take Me Out, but we didn't.
How did you meet?
Good question, actually. It was through. It was a sort of blind date. I got set up well and truly.
Got stitched up.
Obviously, that was a good thing, though, wasn't it, Simon?
Yeah, I got stitched up.
Yeah.
How does Kirsty cope? And same to you, Dean. How do your partners cope with like your meal prepping? Does it like piss them off, or do they help you, or is it like you do you and I'll do me?
I think me and Simon's pretty much the same here. You go first, Si.
Me and Kirsty, we're quite weird because we cook separately, we eat separately. It's like she likes to eat in front of the TV. I like to eat sitting down at the table, and so she'll wait for me to cook my food, eat it, then she'll come in the kitchen, then cook her food, and eat her. So we never ever eat together unless we go out.
Yeah,
and I'm always prepping my food in the morning, early in the morning, so she's still asleep.
So in the beginning then, Si, when you were dating, was she ever like, oh, just have the chocolate fudge cake, it's fine?
Yeah, I mean, her diet wasn't that great, so obviously she used to live, I remember like the first time we were around the house and to do like a roast dinner, and I said, I'll do some roast potatoes. Then she goes, oh, how'd you cook them? I said, well, give me a potato and I'll start peeling it. Because don't you just get them out the freezer? Because no, you fucking eat them.
Aunt Bessie's.
Yeah, but obviously since being with me, she's sort of learned about nutrition and she's very healthy. She's very good. Yeah, she's very healthy.
Have you rubbed off on each other and maybe you relaxed and chilled a little bit with diet and stuff, or is it all one way?
No, she's very mindful of what she eats. She's on this anti-inflammatory diet at the moment, so she's like to cut all the red meat out, cut all the sugars out, and she's like lots of good fats, lots of protein, and she's very clean. But I think I've had a bit of an influence on her. Obviously, she takes a lot of supplements. She takes more than me actually.
Do you train together at all?
No, she don't train.
Oh.
She was at one point, wasn't she? She was doing a bit.
Yeah, she's. You know what? Some people doesn't come naturally to her. I mean, she's naturally slim anyway. So
she's
yeah. But when she's on it. But she's very busy doing her YouTube. She started a YouTube channel last year, and she's hit 1,000 subscribers.
What's the channel? Let's shout
get
it out.
some more subscribers. Shout that channel out.
You hit 1,000 subscribers. Just Kirsty Lowe.
Kirsty. Is that LOW?
I think it's just LO, is it?
Oh, got it.
Yeah.
Oh, there she is talking. Oh, I've subbed.
So she's hit 1,000 subs, and she's getting like paid work from makeup companies to do like comparisons and reviews.
Is she on TikTok as well with that?
She has. She's not on that. She's got it, but she's not active on there. Not that I know of, anyway.
Mate, I went on TikTok in lockdown just to piss about. I ended up with 100,000 followers just doing this stupid shit. Like, you post loads for ages on Instagram and nothing happens. Yeah. You repeat someone else's content on TikTok and boom, you're viral. It's like, this doesn't make sense.
It didn't happen for me. I've just hit 3,000 now. I'm getting crazy amounts of views, but nobody follows me.
I think it's more engagement on TikTok if you're talking. Yeah, it's just pre-recorded.
Yeah, I've not tried to.
Yeah, deadlifting Jupiter. That's
boring, isn't it? It's so boring.
It's not boring, but I think you'd blow up on there if you spoke more.
I think training videos in general are pretty boring. Right? Like,
unless you're watching Machiavelli, like it is boring as fuck, innit? Like bodybuilders when they vlog, it's like, oh fucking, here we go. Oh, they're at Gold's Gym again.
Yeah, the same shit over and over.
I've doing some YouTube videos. Well, I brought a camera last year in lockdown, and me and Liam been doing some YouTube videos. I quite enjoy it, actually. I quite enjoy. I've been editing it today, actually.
I love it. I do.
Yeah, I enjoy it.
What's your channel called, Si?
It's the Ultimate Fitness Birmingham.
Do you say you were doing recording with Liam?
Yeah, well, Liam does a lot of the filming, editing, but we do a bit of each.
So where can we find you at? Because you give out a lot of free tips and advice and stuff as well, do you, on socials? So obviously the YouTube channel, Instagram, anything, shout them out.
So the Ultimate Fitness. The YouTube is Ultimate Fitness Birmingham.
I'll put it on the screen. Don't worry. Yeah. I'll put the whole thing with links.
My own Instagram is. Let me check.
I'm like that when someone asks me my phone number. Like, what's your phone number? I'm like, I don't know. I don't ring it, so I don't know.
It's _fan, my personal one.
_fan.
Yeah.
And if you want to know any posh restaurants, just see where Si checked in. So obviously Kirsty's just was over 1,000 subs now. Is she doing like? Does she schedule those videos now? Because obviously when you hit 1,000, she can monetize it and actually.
Yeah, she's got monetized already. Yeah, so she's having places where all the ads go. She tries to do 2 videos a week. So, that's a goal, to do 2 videos a week.
That's a really decent goal, because when I first started, I was making a video every day. Yeah, and then they don't get enough traction. You've got to let them sit. It's not like TikTok or Insta. If it isn't viral in 24 hours.
How many subs have you got on YouTube?
I'm on, what am I on now? Let's have a look. I'm on 315,000.
Bloody hell, that's good.
Yeah.
How long did it take to get to your first 1,000?
That, to be honest, my first 100 was the hardest. Like most people say 1,000, but it's one of them. Like I get quizzed on it loads, because like even when people come around, to you thanks. When people come around, they see the plaque, because like this is like the front room of my house. They see the plaque, and it's annoying when kids see it, because they're like, "Oh, he's YouTube. What do you do?" And I'm like, "I interview bodybuilders." Like, oh. But the first 100 for me was horrible, and I was telling everybody, all my friends and family subscribe. But when you do that, they become what I call a dead subscriber, because they're never going to watch it.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
you get your numbers up, and it doesn't look right because your numbers aren't matching your views and stuff. But the one thing I learned along the way is it's consistency. You've got to stay at it. You can't not post because things aren't. One video that you think's going to do well didn't. The way I see it is just stand by your work, post the video, and move to the next one. If it does well, it does. If it doesn't, it doesn't. Like my biggest video is 58 million views. I'm not even in it.
58 million.
You had some crazy viral ones, didn't you? That went crazy.
Yeah, that one was Blessing Awodabu on Friends of. You probably heard of Blessing. You should have on Insta.
Yeah.
And
how long have you been on YouTube for?
Let's have a look. It should say on here when I signed up. So it says 2016. How it happened for me was, I think it was end of 2017. I was managing a gym, and I got fired from managing this gym. And I was already creating content, so I started.
Whoa! You can't just say I was fired. Come on,
right?
Back it up.
Okay. So I fell out with the leisure manager, because I was the gym manager. He was the leisure manager, and I fell out with him because he was basically bullshitting pool tests. So you have to do like the chlorine tests on the hot tub, the pool, and that. And he was pissing me off, and I had him about it loads. And it's just disgusting. Do you know what I mean? Because we all know like the top inch of a swimming pool is just, it's urine, it's feces, it's period, it's makeup, deodorant. So if you're not getting them chemicals tested properly, do you know what I mean? You're going to have kids coming out with pink eye or, chlorine burns or God knows what. So I basically kicked off about it for ages. And I was that guy. I went to management and complained. They had me in for a disciplinary for harassing him about him falsifying these results. So I lost my shit. And at the time, I was on a very big cycle of steroids and threw some things around. And
was you that bodybuilder that gives bodybuilders a bad name?
Mate, everything I've done to do with bodybuilding gives bodybuilders a bad name. I've done nothing right other than my channel. But ironically, I started a series called Then and Now a few months before, where I was showing bodybuilders in the past and everything they'd achieved, and then now and what they're doing and basically what they look like. And one video blew up. Well, at the time, it blew up.
Was you actually interviewing them or just doing like?
No, it was just me narrating over the top of it. They were shit. They were awful, but they were doing okay. Who did
you have? Who did you do?
Well, the one that sort of I thought blew up at the time was a Lou Ferrigno one, and it got like 90,000 views, and that got me to be able to be monetized because you need so many views, so many subs.
4,000. and 1,000 subs in it.
Yeah. So I clicked monetize, and 2 days later, I lost my job. And then at the end of that month, because how YouTube revenue works, whatever you earn this month, you get at the end of the next month. I'd earned like $200 from this video, and I was like, and my girlfriend was like, "Are you going to look for another job?" I'm like, "Let me see how this YouTube thing goes. Let me see." Yeah, and I didn't want to be on a gym floor again. It was just, no offense, but it can be boring. It's not like, it's only the members that make it entertaining. There's only so many times in a day you can put plates back. Because I just look at gym instructors, you're just a glorified cleaner, really. Do you know what I mean? You could constantly just putting shit back. So the next month, I started doing some other videos. I made about $1,200. I'm like, nah, this is it. Like, I'm making like 4 or 5 videos a week. I'm just going to do that. And then that blessing video went mental. 58 million views. It was on Lad Bible. Then I signed with Generation Iron because I was their content creator from 2018 to 2020. And I probably got about $30,000 off that blessing video alone. So much stupid. It was paying my rent for months. And I messaged Blessing and I rang him and I was like, because he could have legally monetized that video because it was him in the video. And he didn't. I was like,
so can you do that? Can you take someone's video and like make it your own and get paid for it?
Yeah, so it's all about context, and YouTube are very strict on, like, their guidelines are probably the strictest. So let's say I went on your Instagram page site and pulled out all your clips, put them all together and put some music on. Unless you're adding value to the video, like me saying, oh, he's sci-fi, he's, you know, hack squatting 300 kilos, blah, blah, blah. If I don't do that, legally, it's your content. So you own the rights to your content that's out there. So you can request to either it be taken down or you receive the
income,
the money from it. Yeah. And Blessing could have done that. And he had loads of viral videos at the time. I think it was roughly about 2018, and he didn't.
Has he got his own YouTube channel, has he?
He has now, yeah. He passed me a couple of years ago. I think he's on about 500,000 now. But yeah. Like, anything you want to know about YouTube, like the ins and outs, just ask me anything.
Yeah, I mean, I've been studying the last year with Sam and Kirsten, and it's just a lot to learn. It's a lot to learn, but I'm enjoying it.
There is, but it's try not to take it too seriously. I know it will grow naturally. Yeah, exactly. It does take a long time, and I've seen people come and go. I've seen remember Louis Marco? He was above all of us. You know, came
shit about me,
lost interest, and then faded away. But then you have people like, you know, Nick Strength and Power, you know, who's just gone phenomenal. RX Muscle are very consistent.
That Nick Trilogy, is it? Nick
Trigilli, yeah, he's been on here before. He's obviously got a new one. My favourite out of all of them, though, who's a good friend of mine, is Xavier from Desktop Bodybuilding. Such a nice guy.
Yes, yeah, I know, yeah.
Yeah, she's just got to stick at it, and you just have to stand by your work, I think.
Yeah, like I say, can be consistent.
Yeah, it's hard to fall down the rabbit hole like, oh, I need a better camera, I need a better mic. I got to 100,000 subs on this shitty little Lenovo, you know, the micro PCs, and I was using Windows Movie Maker. It's only now I've bought an iMac and all this other crap I've got around me, just because it's the first thing people see when they come in, because they see that and I think, right, I need the new iMac, I need the iPad, I need the Shure mic, because that's what everybody's using.
Well, people got this is the content, and it's not like the production, it's the content
they buy the person. Yeah, you buy into the person. Same with bodybuilding. Anything that you're passionate about or watch, you buy into the individual, don't you?
Absolutely, yeah.
So she's obviously got a good sort of stage presence that people are hitting sub, and she's giving out, you know, valuable information that people want to watch and consume.
Yeah, she enjoys it. She loves it. She's very natural anyway, so I think she'll do well.
Have you thought of doing the couples Q&As?
Yeah, we did think about doing one. I thought I'll let her sort of get established then.
Well, she could start it off with sort of like a boyfriend reveal. Has she done any vlogging on there?
boyfriend. Yes.
Sorry, husband reveal.
We went to Dubai. But we were both from the same ethnic background, and she did one last week in Chinese with our language, and that's what went viral because we did it for Chinese New Year, and so it hits a different sort of target audience. You see?
Yeah, exactly.
He's speaking pretty fluent Chinese now, Simon.
Yeah, well, we try and speak it as much as we can together at home.
Is that Mandarin or?
No, it's called Hakka. It's like a different dialect of Cantonese, but because obviously I speak to Kirsty's mum and dad in Chinese, so just out of respect, I've had to sort of relearn it. And I speak to her grandparents in Chinese, so when I go around for dinner, I don't talk any English to them. It's all Chinese.
Wow.
Did it come back easy? Was it hard to relearn?
Yeah, because I was sort of trying to talk as much to Kirsty as well anyway, and the last few years it has come back quite quick, and yeah, you forget things, but it comes back quite quick.
Yeah.
You're just teaching me on it. I'm fluent in it. They teach me things like "Iyama abet."
What?
Yeah, Kirsty was teaching Dean a few swear words.
"Iyama abet." What's that mean?
I don't know.
Have you had a shit yet?
This is what she taught me to say in a restaurant. All these people are staring at me.
Kirsty taught you that?
Yeah.
Class.
Yeah.
I get you
That's what I can remember.
Oh my days.
Well remembered.
I know, yeah.
Fan run bin.
Yeah, that's my name.
That's his real name. Fan run bin. Yeah. Now it's going out to the world. You don't want anyone to know about that.
Edit that bit out.
Yeah, we'll all be on Company House later.
Yeah.
See side's face on that. Fuck. Oh my days. So have you got anyone, like, to obviously wrap up, because I think we've dragged this out long enough. Have you got anyone for any seminars coming up? Because you've done quite a few, haven't you? You've had Jay Cutler there. I think Lee. Have you got anyone in mind, or was that just on the back burner?
Not really. We've got, obviously, the Arnold's going to be here in September next year. And I know Flex Wheeler's come back over. And Sean Ray messaged me last week because he's with Mutant now, isn't he? So Sean Ray's coming over for Mutant. Then I would like to arrange like a seminar at the gym with Sean Ray.
Could we get Lee Priest over at the same time?
Do you think anyone would turn up for Sean Ray?
He's still got a following, isn't he? I mean,
I'm messing. I'm pulling his leg.
I like Sean. I mean, I've always liked Sean. Him, I would probably get him and Flex, and if Kevin LeBron's over, probably the three of them. That'd be quite good. And Ronnie Coleman. Yeah, a few years ago when I opened Ultimate Fitness, I arranged a seminar with Ronnie Coleman, Kevin LeBron, Sean Ray, Flex Wheeler. This is the time I fell out with Dorian, and the seminar was arranged. I agreed a fee for everyone, and I was going to take him out. I was going to pay him. Then Dorian sort of went behind my back and told everyone not to do the seminar, and so they all sort of pulled out last minute. So.
I'd have thought Ronnie would have been that. Fuck you.
Sure, Rave's up for it because I'll still do it.
It's money though, isn't it? Like, you've got to draw a line. If your friend says, "Oh, don't go eat," but I still need to get paid. He's not coming to be your best friend, is he?
I'd like to do that 10 years later. Yeah. We'll see. Whoever comes to the Arnold, I'd like to try and get to the gym.
To be fair, like, a lot of, even like at Body Power, when you get a lot of the guys over there, a lot of them come through your gym anyway, don't they?
Yeah.
Training shoots and photo shoots and stuff.
Yeah, there's no Body Power anymore, though, is there? So.
Yeah, I was going to work it this year as well, and it's all gone. Yeah.
What, gone all together, or just this year?
I don't think
more than me.
I don't think he'll come back, personally.
Because I didn't realise until scrolling through Instagram, saw William Bonnack. I didn't realise they had 5-0 last week. I didn't even know that was back.
Yeah. It was nowhere near as big as what it used to be. But the Arnold was big, though. I mean, did you go to the Arnold last year?
No, I didn't know.
It was pretty decent for, it was busy. I think this year's going to be even bigger. So, I stopped going to expos, to be honest, but I quite enjoyed that because it was the first one probably in the 3 or 4 years I've been to. So nice to see everyone.
Do you think you'll ever put on an event again? I know you obviously had a shit time last time, but even like a small local show, or even something for the members.
We've got one in 10 weeks. We've got the Ultimate Fitness Classic in Warsaw. So
nice.
We've got a lot of the lads are preparing for that at the moment. So we're 9 weeks out, June the 19th.
So I was just about to say, we forgot one big thing is you're promoting a new show and it's coming up soon. So check out the details. For anybody that wants to enter, what's it all about?
June the 19th, Warsaw Arena. It's gonna be a good show. We've got over 100 competitors signed up for it already. So
what sort of classes are we looking at then?
So we've got obviously the classic. We've got the weight classes bodybuilding, so under 75, under 85, under 90, under 95, over 95. Of junior, just the normal classes really. Men's physique, all the women's classes.
I heard a little rumor that they might be having a superstar guest spot there. I've seen that you've recently been putting a bit of muscle on lately. Is it true? Is the Phantom getting back on stage?
Well, don't dismiss it. I am sort of trying to get my body fat down, but if I don't know, we'll see.
You've got to. It's your show.
Yeah, I know, but I don't be wearing fat
out one more time.
I know, but that's not.
I have been sort of prepping, not like 100% strict, but I have been sort of do the cardio, eating clean, training regularly.
Mate, I used to prep for body power, so I looked good just walking around at body power. I swear to God.
Did 90% of body power.
Yeah, that's true.
You're walking around with no clothes on. It's all about that one day of the year.
Wearing a medium small.
I would have kept that quiet, to be honest. I would have prep body power.
We have no shame on this show. We just,
Mate, it is what it is. It is what it is. You got to be honest.
We learn from our mistakes. Well, some of us do. Sometimes.